Ali, and then I just want to give everyone a chance to speak. Sorry. So, Hassan Ali Imam, over to you. Sorry.
Hi, assalamu alaikum. Thanks. Let me start my clock. And good to see you much better. And if you haven't already, please buy the book, Britain 2035, an excellent read. What I'm going to go through, hopefully won't take me more than seven minutes, are the similarities between Jeffrey Epstein and the grooming gang cases. Number two is what I think is a divergence in the community responses of the criminals who belong to that community. Thirdly is what I think is a stealth anti-Semitism that is happening in relation to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Fourthly, a reaction from, just overview of reaction from ex-Muslims. Fifthly, Tommy Robinson, Elon Musk. And finally, what actions can we, all of us, take away that will affect change as a result of our discussion on this. So in terms of the similarities between the two cases, yeah, in both cases, very, very sick exploitation of young girls, no question about it. I've heard the testimonies of Virginia Giuffre, Lisa Phillips, and what's her name, Anushka DeGiorgio. It is actually gut-wrenching, absolutely gut-wrenching. And also, if you read some of the email exchanges between Jeffrey Epstein and some of the other people he's emailed, I found that he's living in a different plane of existence. He's occupying a different universe totally from us. Really weird. And likewise, you hear gut-wrenching testimonies from the victims of grooming gangs. Absolutely disgraceful, sick and depraved. Now, in terms of the Kiswa from the Kaaba that had Quranic inscriptions, and also the fact that was gifted to him, and also given that Jeffrey Epstein does have a collection of the Talmud on his bookshelf, one would think and one would hope that the Quranic verses from the cloth and also the wisdom from the Talmud, the light from those actually did shine on Jeffrey Epstein, even if it's for a few minutes, within that dark and demonic world. But if the alternative hypothesis is true, that the Kiswa cloth was used as a to deface it in a certain evil sacrifice or evil ritual, then clearly that is sacrilege and a deface to the Quran. In the same way, if some of those grooming gang members did actually use the Quran during those horrible actions, they too are defacing the religion. So some similarities there, if those are true. Now, the divergence in the community responses. As you'll all agree, there have been fierce responses from the general media about the Jeffrey Epstein's scandal and those who've been linked to it. And that's expected. Now, in terms of reactions from our community, the Muslim community, I think it's wanting. I would expect reprimands, disgust, condemnations of these actions, especially during the khutbahs, the Friday prayers, the sermons. Now, I've noticed three types of reactions. Firstly, it will be a relative silence. Secondly, a distraction towards, a whataboutery. And thirdly, a distraction towards the charge of Islamophobia. Generally, there have been some scholars who have condemned it. I welcome that. But in fairness, to the credit of the Muslim Council of Britain, in 2013, they did hold a conference on the grooming gangs. They did condemn it. And also in June 2013, the organization called Together Against the Grooming, so it's a Muslim organization, they did issue a sermon to be sent to 500 mosques to condemn the grooming gang. So that is actually welcome. But since 2013, it looks like, what change has there been? I'd expect to see more work done, certainly by imams, etc. The stealth anti-Semitism. So if we scan the Muslim influences in relation to their feedback on Jeffrey Epstein, they've been really, really hard, and I agree with that. But have they been equally angry? Have they thrown fire and brimstone equally to the grooming gangs? Okay. And I haven't seen much evidence of that, if any. And I've been searching. Now, in 2018, there was a podcast held by Ali Dawah, Mohammed Hijab, and Zishan, and they did condemn the grooming gangs, and that is welcome. Okay. However, what is not welcome is in the video, they had a list of 139 references of pedophilia by non-Muslims. Okay. And that is unwelcome because that's a whataboutery. You know, crush the Muslim grooming gangs, deal with that first before going into a whataboutery. But recently, so that was 2018, but recently, you know, what have Muslim influencers done? Close to nothing. Now, where does the anti-Semitism come in? So if you look at some of those Muslim influencers, they would connect Jeffrey Epstein with the Mossad, for example, because of his Jewishness. And that is stealth anti-Semitism, right? Why would you connect Epstein to Israel only and ignore the KGB, the possible KGB connection or the CIA? They only focus on Mossad and Israel. So I think that's a remnant of anti-Semitism. Now, and the age-old stereotypes of, you know, Jewish sacrifices of children, that's coming to the fore in some cases. But the links to the intelligence agencies, they're not present in the Department of Justice files that have been released. So it's just a supposition. Now, if we look at the response from the Jewish media, right, they've come down really hard on Epstein. So you look at the Jewish Chronicle, for example. So in May 2023, they had the pictures of well-known Jewish influencers who had a connection with Jeffrey Epstein. So we're looking at Woody Allen, right? Noam Chomsky, and also Ehud Barak, the ex-prime minister of Israel. Their pictures were posted and they were condemned. And Benjamin Netanyahu, he condemned Ehud Barak for that connection with Epstein. If we look at the Jewish Post, only in early February, an article by Tommy Robinson where he did condemn Jeffrey Epstein. And also Gabrielle Weiniger, she is a Jewish journalist for The Times. She's based in Tel Aviv. And interestingly enough, she talked about a possible connection with Mossad, a Jewish journalist, okay? So, and also Epstein's lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, he's Jewish. He called for all of the files to be released, okay? And Epstein did not see eye to eye with Alan Dershowitz. He was actually condemned. And hopefully very soon I will speak to Alan Dershowitz. So there has been due diligence and condemnation by the Jewish media on their own, Jeffrey Epstein. If we look at the Muslim media, the Muslim newspaper, Islam channel, they're very, very wanting. Okay, so they should do more. Reactions from ex-Muslims, 8 minutes in. Yeah, so I did a scan of the well-known influencers like Ayn Hirsi Ali, Sarah Haider, Mariam Namazi, Apostate Prophet, Mamus Najmi, Nuraya Khan. They haven't really said much, and Ayn Hirsi Ali did say something, only a one-liner a few years ago about Jeffrey Epstein, but in the context of the Muslim grooming gangs. The only credit I'll give to is Haris Sultan, because last week he did a video for 27 minutes on Jeffrey Epstein and even talking about some of his own heroes like, you know, Trump and Tommy Robinson, where he did a critical analysis of that. So he's the only ex-Muslim I know that has done justice to the Epstein thing, whereas the other ones I've mentioned, they've condemned the grooming gangs, understandably so, and rightly so, but they've been relatively silent about the Epstein case, so that's quite puzzling to me. Come to Tommy Robinson. As I said, he wrote in the Jerusalem Post, condemning Epstein, and that's welcome because of experience about grooming gangs. But where there's been a gap, I think, his failure to condemn Elon Musk, because you'll be aware if you watch the Advance the UK March a few months ago, Elon Musk was a guest speaker via video, and Elon Musk did condemn the grooming gangs, and rightly so. But of course, he had a connection with Jeffrey Epstein, and he wanted to visit a party in one of his islands. And he was aware that he was a convicted paedophile. And Epstein did tell Elon Musk that there will be women there in that wild party where the age will be not more than 25. So I was expecting a condemnation by Tommy Robinson of Elon Musk to be just and fair. Finally, in terms of actions, what I've tried to do is trying to collate testimonies of the victims of the grooming gangs, because I think if we collate that information, send them to the mosques or the imams, and maybe they can address them in their khutbahs, in the sermons. But it's actually hard to find a collection of testimonies. There is no central repository. I contacted the Open Justice UK. They said the same thing. There's no central authority, but Rupert Lowe, MP, he is has funding something into the testimonies of the victims, and I've contacted Freedom from Abuse. Again, is very difficult. So I'm hoping what Rupert Lowe is doing, and more importantly, the national inquiry of the grooming gangs will actually bring more light, because that really does need to happen. What I'm also going to do is I have books by Deepak Chopra. So that he had a sort of close relation with Jeffrey Epstein. So, they are good books, actually, like Synchro Destiny, Jesus. Right?
Can we not promote his books, please? He's like, God is a construct, and fit girls are real, or something like that. You've muted yourself. Sorry, you've muted yourself. It keeps unmuting. I don't know what's happening.
That's all right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's the books. It's Deepak Chopra's books that's falling on those keys. So what you just said, Lubna, about God is a construct, the girls are real, that goes against this particular book, How to Know God. Okay. So I'm going to probably burn or recycle these books because, of course,
you've got to burn books.
I'll tear out the pages which refer to the Quran and the Bible and the Vedas. So I'll give due respect to those scriptures as a symbolic act that this is clearly not on, and he should be deplatformed, Deepak Chopra. And I think that's it. So thank you very much.